You're listening to Breakfast with Pablo on Spirit 1260 Karratha.
BMX is absolutely huge here in the Pilbara. It's a very, very popular sport, and I got inundated yesterday with questions from the kids' BMX.
That's awesome.
We were hoping that you could answer some quick-fire questions from them.
I'd love to.
Now, Sophie Taylor, she's aged 9. She'd like to ask you, could you come to Karratha for some training sessions, and also what are your tips for getting a good start in a race?
My tip, well, you've asked the right person because I've failed at the highest level at the Olympic Games and messed up my gate start. So my biggest thing that I could say with advice is practice, but also it's that confidence. I think confidence ends up delivering your performance and that technique. So, you know, you can have the best technique in the world, but if you don't back it with that confidence and that belief, then it won't happen. So just practice, and that'll gain you confidence, and be really confident in your starts. If you can get out of those gates and be that centimetre in front, you know, you've got that whole shot and that great advantage in BMX. So keep working on that, and I would love to come to Karratha. So we'll have to work out something. Actually, Alice Springs, I think, is next on the coaching schedule. So maybe we'll have to do a detour over that way.
I'm sure Sophie Taylor will let you sleep in her lounge room if you have to.
Okay.
Now, Ryan, who's 13, he wants to know, what do you do to get a really fast spin speed from the gate, and what sort of stretches and warm-ups do you do to prepare for a race?
Oh, these are good questions. Dynamic warm-up is what I do. So basically, before I go in the gym, before I go on the bike, whether it's sprints or track, I've got basically a dynamic routine, pretty simple. Leg spins, whether you're jogging, you've got, you know, your high knees, those dynamic quick movements, the squat jump, basically anything that's really going to get you firing. BMX, 40 seconds, out of the blocks as you can go. So work on that dynamic warm-up. And basically with the leg spin, just check with your local club and people around you that your gearing is not too high. That's the biggest mistake in BMX. I was fortunate my dad, from a very young age, had me on a very small gearing and trained my legs to be fast legs and, you know, have that spinning high cadence capability. So check your gearing. It could be your gearing that's off, but also just some stationary rollers or a spin bike in the gym, and just do those maximal, very no gear at all, just cadence efforts, and that'll really get you firing for those next races.
Some very good answers there, Caroline. And Abby wants to know, she's 8. She'd like to know, how many state and national titles have you won, and at what age did you win your very first title?
Oh, national, I think it's 16 national title wins. State, I'm not sure. World titles at 5.
Wow.
But I started at the age of 5. My brother got me in the sport, and, you know, admittedly I was a little tomboy. BMX isn't a sport that, back in 1995 when I started, there was only 1 or 2 girls at all. So I started racing the boys, but I think it would have been roughly when I was about 8 years old, I won my first state title. And then from there, at 9 years old, I went to Paris for my first world championship. So I definitely started young, and I've come from a cycling background, but yeah, it's been a passion my whole life, and I don't look back. 2 wheels is what's really captured my love, for sure.
Gemma Rogers wants to know, how do you get used to so many different tracks and start ramps?
I think the progression of BMX, during the Beijing Olympic Games, the start ramp went from about 3 metres to about 8 metres. So from about Beijing to London, all the athletes really got thrown in the deep end. That the start hill went up, the speeds went up, everything got a lot more scary and daunting. And to be honest, I still get nervous today, and that's one thing that I love about BMX is it is a sport that I get nervous, and it keeps me on my toes, and it challenges me, and that's why I think I still love it to this day so much since doing it from the age of 5. Approaching different tracks, it's just like approaching any different obstacle. You know, you come into any track with the same process. You ease into it slowly. You know, you can never observe too much. You can never analyze a track too much of how you're gonna do it. I think the mistakes are made when you just get out there and you do something, or you hit a new jump and you haven't really analysed it or calculated the speed you need to go, or, you know, take your time. There's no need to rush, and that's one thing I do. Any event that I go to around the world, I really make sure that I've got it set in my mind and done that visualisation to know how I approach that track or that jump or what speed I need to come into it.
And lastly, Caroline, Anthony wants to know, how old is too old to be a kid at heart when it comes to BMX?
Well, I'm 24 and I still ride a kid's bike for a living, so I think it's never too old. I started at the age of 5, probably going to be 45, still racing BMX or mountain bikes or whatever two-wheeled, Harley, you name it. So, yeah, I think never too old to be a kid at heart. I still am, and my dad stopped racing at the age of 45, so, yeah, sky's the limit.
Classic Gold, today's hits. Spirit.